Good afternoon. Today is December 23rd, and we are visiting with Janine, Fabienne, and Judson at their home. And it's really an honor to be with all of you today. Janine, when did you were telling me your parents sent a telegram to Mother?
When I was born, yes. I suppose so. I don't have to know. I never had the confirmation of this, you know, I suppose. But it was the only way to correspond at that time, you know.
A letter would take a month.
Places, it would... there was... boats took half a year, you know, almost. I don't know that much, but, you know.
Yeah. And when did you first come to the ashram?
Oh, to the ashram, that was in 1950. Do you remember, Fabienne?
I think 57 or 8, you told me so.
57?
Yes, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Or 56.
And can you recount a little of your first meeting with Mother?
First meeting with Mother was in the... Well, when I arrived, they put with the car from the airport.
Mm-hmm.
They took me to the gate of the ashram, and Mother was just coming in.
Oh.
In her car.
In her car, yes.
So she came down from this car, and she told me, "Well, I'm busy now, but we'll meet after this meeting at such a place. It's at the sports ground."
At the sports ground?
No, not sports ground.
Tennis ground?
Playground.
At the playground.
Uh-huh.
So that's what happened. I went to, I think they put me in Golconde, yes. I put my luggage there and all that, and then I went to the playground.
Yes.
And Mother was there, back from her tennis, because she had been playing tennis.
Right.
Then, that's what was. And well, she was in one of the classes, you know, one of the rooms. Well,
That small room they had for her. Yes.
So we talked for a few. Let's say, I don't think it was no more than 5 minutes, you know, because she was terribly busy at that time.
Yes.
You know, she was running from one place to another.
Yes.
So that's how I met her for the first time. In between tennis ground and sports ground. It was a school.
And you had many occasions to see her afterwards.
Well, everybody saw her at that time, you know, because she was working everywhere all the time, visiting places, visiting farms around the town. She was...
You remember how silent it was in the ashram and the whole area? No motorcycles, no cars, only Mother's car,
yes,
I
but
think.
that was not so extraordinary at that time, you know. There were not so many cars here.
Yes.
So it was very easy to have a city without cars.
Yes, it was.
And then nobody in the ashram had any car, of course.
No.
They used the cars for the visiting the farms and all that. But you had to borrow it from the garage, which was in... Qu'est-ce que c'était?
Ouais.
Le garage de l'ashram, c'était... Comment ça s'appelait? Harpagon?
Harpagon.
Harpagon, c'était Harpagon, oui.
Yes, the car and everything.
That was Udar, I think. Udar
Et
was
c'était
running
Oudar
it,
qui
huh?
était.
Yes.
Uda was in charge, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But that was not you said, in the 20s.
No, that was in the 50s. And didn't you ride with her sometime in the car once or something?
Oh,
Seem
did
to
you
remember.
go with mother in the car?
No, I don't think I ever.
you didn't.
No, because she went alone in the.
But you know
with-
where she went was to Ananda's Island.
Ah,
When they
Oh.
went on the
Yes.
boat, that was a nice, nice time.
you remember that?
Oh yes, I do.
Ah,
This mother gave me after I. No, it's more complicated, but anyway.
The mother's boat went. Mother's boat was with the peacock. Did you go?
yes.
That was for.
I went to the island, but not with mother.
So that was when there was Ananda's.
Ananta
birthday.
was there,
And
yes.
mother's boat had a peacock.
peacock.
You know, but the other ones were following, and in other boats. And Janine's boats capsized.
Wow.
Ah, yes.
And she lost her ring.
Oh,
And I
no.
lost my yes, the ring the ring
The
my
ring
mother
that
had
mother
given
had
me.
That mother had given you.
Yes.
So when they came back, mother gave her this ring.
So I got
That's how
this
she
one.
remembers the whole.
Oh, how beautiful. Oh.
Two, yes.
Who do you remember especially well in the ashram of the older sadhaks? Like
Oh, Pavitra, of course.
Pavitra.
Pavitra, yes.
Very
He
few
was
people-
directing everything, in
I
fact.
see.
Yes. He
And
was
Nolini.
And Nolini, yes.
Can you
but
tell us-
Nolini was more discreet, you know. I mean, no, not as a person, but I mean, Pavitra was everywhere at the same time, active all over the place, you know, in sports, in tennis, in exercise, anything. All the time, I don't know how we could do. And then, of course, he taught mathematics,
Yes,
sciences,
yes,
and all
yes.
sorts.
Ah.
He was also director of the school at the time.
Yes, he was.
Right?
Yes.
And then Janine was working with him upstairs. Janine was working with him upstairs in Pavitra's room.
Oh.
And that she can
Yes.
tell you about, because the mother was walking back and
Oh yes,
forth.
that was in the morning. In the morning, we looked at the mail, of course, which had arrived. Mother opened the letters first. For a reply, you see.
Oh.
So then that happened in her room, which you visit now as a room.
It's called Mother's Parlor.
Yes.
Parlor.
That's the place that she used to open
Yeah.
the mail. And
This was down
And
one
you
level
should-
from where she finally
no,
stayed.
it is in between Sri Aurobindo's room
Right.
and her room. You go upstairs, right? So in between Sri Aurobindo's room is here, and you take a turn like this,
Right.
and there is her chair there,
Yes.
and her bed there. And that was her room for a long, long time before the room was built upstairs.
Before the room, yeah. And that's when I met mother there.
That's where you
Yes.
met Mother.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she says there she was receiving the mail,
Oh.
and then giving instruction to Pavitra, and Janine was working in the same.
And she often went herself, bringing the letter, you know, from her place, her parlor, to Pavitra's office,
Oh.
at the, and
Very,
walking very quickly with letters in her hands and giving this one you say this and this and that, and this one you say that, and you know she was going back and then coming back again because there was another letter.
see.
I think what
It was
was
terribly-
striking at the time was that she was very dynamic, right?
Yes.
She was very fast. She was the energy that she was putting out for doing the work was very striking.
Yes,
Right? That's what
Yes.
she would express.
How long did you work with him?
Oh, the first time it was only 3 weeks, I think.
Uh-huh.
The second time I stayed a little longer. That was 1 year later. I came back.
Ah,
And,
so around 58. So mother's still downstairs.
57.
Doesn't go up till after 62, yes.
57.
57.
57.
Ah.
Yes.
And what do you remember?
But I said it's a little more.
What do you remember of Nolini?
Ah. Le regard.
His look, the way he looked.
Yeah.
The way he looked.
Yes.
I would rather not describe anything, you know. I don't like to describe those things. I have the impression of losing them.
She's very shy about expressing these things, and as she said, I don't know if it will hear very well, but when she expresses those things, she feels like they evaporate and she loses them.
Yes.
So she prefers to talk about, you know, just the way
Very
things
good.
are.
Yes,
Yes.
very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Did you come out to Oroville for the inauguration, or?
No, I was not there. Fabienne was,
Yeah, I know. Yes.
even on the photograph.
Yeah, the great photograph. Yes, yes. With
No, I wasn't
Christoph.
there.
Oh, no, that was Kali.
No, that was cut.
Yes, it
Yes.
is funny because the soil of Oroville was put
Right.
in the urn
Right.
by Navachata's children,
I see.
2 children. And the soil of
Kiran and
Kiran
Vijay. Vijay, yes.
And the soil of Oroville was put in the urn by Kalia and myself. So I thought it was interesting because Vijay and his sister were really ashram children,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And we are international, I guess, Kalia and myself.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was very nice. And Navajata at the time was taking care of Oroville a lot. He was working a lot
Oh, yes.
with Oroville. But his children put ashram soil in the urn. So I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
You know. But no, she was not here for the inauguration.
No, I was not there.
When,
Where was I?
yeah, when did you first go to Oroville?
Do you remember? I don't know.
I don't remember.
No.
Must have been in the very early stages.
Yes, certainly in inauguration. You said
68?
68.
68.
Yes.
68 was the
68.
inauguration.
Well,
And then you went to the matrimonial, somebody took you to
oh,
the
but that was
matrimonial.
much later.
Much later.
Yeah.
Matrimonial was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. No more.
And you went to Savitri Bhavan also. Somebody took you, no? There was a lady there that took you for an exhibition. No. But the first time she
Yeah.
wouldn't remember. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. Do you remember the first time you went to the chamber of the Matrimondia? What was it
To
like?
the chamber.
What was it like?
What is a chamber?
Where we all sit in meditation up?
Oh, you mean the
Yeah, we call it the chamber.
Oh, you call it the
Yeah, we
chamber?
call it
Yes,
the
I
chamber.
did.
Yes.
Well,
You walked up
Yes.
the ramp.
yes, I can tell you, c'est une année relativement récente.
It's quite recent. She
Oh,
said,
really?
But she doesn't have much remembrance of dates very
Dates and
well,
times.
so much. You
Me
know.
neither.
Aren't we here to be in the timeless? so,
Yes.
so, well, in both, right?
Well, I'll tell you Nirod Baran's famous quote. He said, "Mind is going, must be sign of supermind."
Well, it's a bit optimistic.
What do you remember of ashram life here?
Well, ashram life, let's see. At the beginning, when I went, but it was not the beginning, it was let's say, quelle année?
She was staying at Golconda when she
I
came.
was staying at Golconda, yes.
And you knew Mona?
Where I went, I knew
Mona.
Mona, of course,
Yes.
Uda's wife.
Yes.
There's a girl, I can't remember the name, remember.
We have been trying to remember somebody's name that used to help her with her dinner in Golconda. So she's referring to that. And we are not remembering.
Sutapa?
I cannot.
How is Sutapa is gone, right? I don't know.
Temi.
Temi, not Temi. A small girl like this, little, rather round.
Sutapa was coming for lunch and helping her with her lunch.
I see.
Or
Not.
discussing or chit-chatting with her at lunch.
Yes, and also Gautam.
Gautam also.
And
Yes, Gautam, yes.
we
C'est lui le plus
we did a
régulier.
long interview with Gautam
Nice.
before he passed away,
Nice.
Yes.
just a couple of years ago. Yeah. And we had a wonderful meeting with him. He showed us all the things Mother had given him,
Yes.
a whole house full of things Mother gave him.
Yes.
And he loves, he likes so much showing these things, you know. It's,
Oh yes, yes.
yes, it was a pleasure for him to show this. Yeah, Gautam. Gautam was more regular, you know, every day almost.
Every day you would see him.
Yes.
Did you have any contact with Temi?
Temi, yes, but not for work, you know.
No,
we
not
just
for- just
met
to talk.
like this to talk and all this. Was on very good terms with her, but we never had the collaboration, you know. We never had the opportunity to work together.
Who did you work with in later years in the ashram?
In later years,
When you came here, who were you working with?
let me see, je sais, ma mémoire est en train de my memory is fleeing away.
Janine translated Sri Aurobindo's letters from English to French. You know, when she did that in Paris, of course. And then she worked with the people that printed the letters, the books in French. So people at the press.
Yes, I
She
would
worked with Christophe a little
worked
bit.
with Christoph.
Yes, but there are more
That's
old ones.
even later.
That's much later.
Roby Gangu.
Roby, yes, of course.
Very much.
His brother was his name, I don't remember.
Kanilal?
Kanila, yes, I think so, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. So she worked with the people of the press
Yes,
for
the
that.
press, I worked with the press.
What did you do at the press?
Correctly.
Correcting?
Correcting.
Proofreading?
Proofreading, yes.
And making sure everything was okay for the publication.
Yes.
English to French.
Yes, English to French.
English to French, yes.
She worked with Manoj, not worked, but had a lot of contact with Manoj for that also. Because he is in charge of publications and stuff.
Another contact was Satprem.
Satprem also.
Yeah.
Oh, can you tell us
Yes.
about your work with him? That's very interesting.
Not really, because he didn't talk too much, you know. So we don't have much to tell about what. Well, in any case, he did a lot of corrections and all these things.
He was working at the press also?
He was working everywhere. He was working at the bulletin. He was working at the press, and all printed matter in French. They were always a bit short of French-speaking, French-writing people. You know, it was at that time, in time of Pavita, for instance. It was a problem, you know, each time.
Yeah, they didn't have enough French people to do all the proofreading and all the teaching and translating, you know. Never enough people
No,
to do
there
that.
is enough.
Even nowadays they look for French teachers anyway, you know.
You're always a bit short of French-speaking people.
Now most of whatever was published in English has been translated to French, almost everything.
What about Savitri?
And she also translated almost the whole of Savitri into
Except
French.
the part translated
Except the
by
part-
mother.
Go ahead.
Translated by mother.
Yeah, she translated almost all of Savitri into French,
Oh my goodness.
but not the parts, of course, that
what
had
mother
been
had
translated by mother.
Mother had translated.
And then the remaining few books are there that she hasn't finished translating yet.
No, but there's a new edition coming out, I understand.
Of mother's
In French?
translations.
Of mother's translation.
Oh,
Yes, because they have found lots of corrections to be made.
Yes. And so, yeah, she has been busy with that in Paris, even though she was not here. She was doing it.
Yeah.
and did you must have known Monsieur André?
Yes,
very
of
well,
course.
no, very well.
Very well, yes.
I got to know him very well also.
You did?
Yes, he was very kind to me.
That's good.
And interesting story. He came out to Oroville in those early days and would meet with a few of us. And at that time, there were two distinct camps in Oroville. One wanted to give the villagers everything they wanted, all the money they wanted for the land. Another one said, no, you do the right pricing and you buy it now. So we asked Monsieur André to go and ask Mother what to do. Mother wrote very simply, buy the land now. You do not know the power of greed. Today we're experiencing the power of greed.
Yes.
1 lakh for a small piece of worthless land that's in Oregon, and 10 lakhs and more they're asking. So Mother knew immediately.
She had very practical insight also.
Yes.
Yes, so André was, her father, and I grew up in his house too, in Paris.
In
Yes.
Paris?
Yes.
Oh.
We were all together in the same house with Grandpapa. I call him Grandpapa. Right?
So you were there, you and...
Well, my mother, my grandmother Vanda, you know André's wife? Did
no,
you
I-
get to know her? No?
No, I didn't.
She brought me up.
Yes.
So all of us in Paris, yes. And were you ever here in Pondicherry when André was here?
No,
don't think so.
No. We were, in fact, we almost tried to never to go together. You see, so we corresponded about ashram business.
Yes.
But I was in Paris. He was in Pondy, or I was in Pondy. He was in Paris. So we managed the business things together, but it was
Yeah.
yes.
There is an association in Paris called the Centre d'études Sri Aurobindo, means Sri Aurobindo Education Center. So there is a little center there that was created by André and started in his house. Now is in another house, but she was taking care of that when he was here, and he was taking care of that when she was here, and then so there was also some activity regarding the center. Somebody had to be there anyway. And I guess I was there too, to be taken care of by somebody, right?
Did maybe you live on the boulevard?
We were,
place?
you know where the Arc de Triomphe is, you know, in Paris?
Yes, sure.
So there's 12 avenues coming
Right,
out, so in one of those avenues.
Yeah. I had seen all the places Mother lived.
Oh no,
They-
she
Oh,
didn't live in that one.
She didn't live in that
No.
one. They took us to 3 places where she had lived, with Morrissey, and the last place was that beautiful little
House at
house,
the
yeah.
end of the garden?
At the end of the garden.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very
yes.
nice. So, yeah.
Well, you were lucky because you cannot go there now.
No.
People have completely locked the
Oh,
place. They don't want anybody to visit their garden.
You have to squeeze in, just like when somebody gets in, you
That's
just.
what we did. Exactly.
Yes, but now you cannot even do that, you know.
really?
I think, yes, it's worse, yes.
It's locked and everything.
They've locked everything. Well, I don't know. I've not been there for the past 6 months, so may have changed it.
Do you remember Amrita?
Very, well, it's very far away, you know. I think I met him only 3 or 4 times. My first trips there, maybe, probably. And then he died when? Do you know exactly?
But you could,
Anyway, I never talked to him. Yes, yeah, I was close to him.
you could tell us a little of Roger.
Of
Roger.
Roger.
Roger Anger.
Oh, Roger, I hardly knew him.
Hardly knew him.
Oh,
Ah,
I met him 3 or 4 times, that's all.
Well, actually, yes, because we met him in Paris, you know, casually. Purna moved here, then we got to see him less because we used to meet him when they were together in Paris, right?
yeah.
So she moved here and we stopped seeing him. Then he moved here and Janine was coming not that very often and staying not that very long. So after that, she didn't get to meet him that much, actually.
No, well, he was, most of the time I was in Paris and he was in Bondy.
Here.
In fact,
Yes,
he was
yes.
here, yes.
I was staying here, so like that I got to meet him more, but she wouldn't have met him that much.
And then he lived in Oroville for a while.
And then he lived in
Moved to
Oroville.
Oroville.
Yes. But I don't know, she had good experiences in the group. They did yoga and
What do you mean,
Here,
in the
when you
ashram?
were
Yes, yes.
she enjoyed that a lot.
Oh,
I liked very much, yes. And even sometimes Pranab organized a special
Group for her to
for
join.
me.
oh really?
Yes.
Oh,
With 4 or 5 girls who came every day to you know, to help me with my exercise and all that.
oh, isn't it?
So it was,
That's it.
you know, they have all the groups and they have a non-group, and so this was the special non-group.
Yes, I like the non-group.
She always did regular exercises, and she feels now it was a great thing to have done that all her
Oh
life.
yes, yeah.
I see.
Even now she can feel that, you know,
No,
something
can-
is.
Yes. There are some movements I can do and other people of my age cannot.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. Well, Pranab was very helpful in that.
Yes. You want to give us something to drink, maybe?
Yes. What else?
So you live in Mendocino.
It feels now like I used to live in Mendocino. I've been in Paris.
C'est pour moi ça? C'est pour...
Mendocino is, Northern California, north of San Francisco. Very special area.
Very special.
Very special area. The people are so open, so friendly. They are so, they understand the value of sharing. The first impression I got of San Francisco was a shock. Because I felt that people were kind, and I was like, this is amazing, kind people at last,
Yes.
That was my first impression, and then it developed into knowing that the people are very open. Since the 60s, they are open to spiritual
That's
things.
what started it, huh?
Yes.
Mother said that was the opening
Yes, the
for
60s.
some of these people.
Yes.
And she said even drugs was just a way of opening the consciousness, expanding the consciousness. Yes.
Yes. So yes.
A little window.
So it really feels like home. When I came to India first, I was at home suddenly, And when I came back much later, it was not exactly the same. And then I went to Northern California, and it was home again, a different kind, but it was home again because of that kindness, that sharing, that understanding that, you are for that area.
And what about your love of Paris?
I continue to love Paris.
Yes.
My favorite city.
Yes, I cannot get rid of this, I still feel like walking there, running along the streets, watching the shops, and again back to elsewhere.
No.
I am.
Oh, what do you feel when you come back here?
What I feel when I come back? Well, there's too much to say. True. First thing is, it's crowding. So
there's so much to say. The words get jumbled up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It must be very different now from when you first came.
Well, yes, of course, but that depends, When I first came, there were hundreds of people. It was really a crowd. Now it's much less. I have the same feeling during the meditation, all along since I don't know, 2-3 years ago. It's about the same. Well, it's difficult to say, I don't think what I feel is. No, I cannot describe, you know. It's, well, anyway, my head is. No.
Yeah,
J'ai
your
la
question
tête-
was how does she feel when she comes back here, right? But before that, you were asking about Paris and if she misses Paris. She is a Parisian from childhood. She was taken away from Paris during the war to go to the countryside and take refuge in the countryside, not to be exposed to the war in Paris. So the family moved to the southwest of France. And from that moment on, she had only one thing in mind, was when was she going to get back to Paris, right?
Yes.
Right? And until she could go back, she was very unhappy. And recently somebody asked her the same question, how do you feel you are not in Paris? And she said, well, you know, it's nice, at least I know Paris is there. You know, so that was nice.
What do you do these days?
What do you do?
What occupies yourself these days? Writing?
Writing, yes.
Yes.
Writing, translation.
Translation.
Lots of translation, publishing a little 20 pages bulletin of translations for the people in France who don't know English. Well, I don't know.
She's
I don't know what
trying to
I
get
would-
a routine here, first of all, you know. She's just came, and it's a lot to come from France at her age, do the traveling, settle down. That was a lot, you know. Now we got a routine going, and she's able to meet wonderful people like you in the evening.
And you'll be here for some time.
Yes, let us see how she feels and
Okay.
yes, how she feels. And
As long as Paris is still there.
as long as Paris is there somewhere.
Yes. It's no joke, you know,
I know it's serious.
unfortunately.
And so that publication she was telling you about is
Yes.
from the Center of Education. What they
The
have
same
been,
center you were talking
yes,
about?
I was talking about. They are publishing a
Study center.
Study center.
Yeah.
Study center.
Not education.
Oh, not Center of Education, I'm
Study
sorry.
center.
Study Center it's called, yes. So they publish a small thing 4 times a year at the in between the darshans, and it's mostly translations from English to French. And so Savitri is published there with one side English, one side French. And then there was, I think, things from Nolini was there, and what's his name, the other person that you are translating nowadays?
Oh, well, there are still some letters of Cherubino which have not been translated.
There are new
yet,
letters
that
of
exist,
Cherubino.
that
there are new
exist,
letters
there are
coming,
still.
yes.
Yes.
Especially on poetry and art. There are
Yes.
many new letters.
For instance, yes, that is one.
Yes.
So those are being translated by Christophe, and then they come and ask us things, and also Purani, right? Purani.
Purani,
Yes,
entretien.
the talks of
Talks.
Purani, they are translated.
Yeah. Evening talks by Purani,
So
which
they
are a little different from
Nirod.
Nirod.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because Nirod has been translated already.
I knew
Into
I met
French.
Purani first in America.
Oh,
He came to give a series on Savitri,
yes.
and I became very close to him. He gave me my first copy of Savitri.
Yes.
I probably at the same time he went through Paris.
Maybe same time.
Maybe
yes.
the same time, because I saw him there. He came to see my father, of course.
Ah,
And it was in the years 2000, non, pas 2000, 1900 quelque chose.
Dates. Let's
Dates.
forget dates.
Let's forget
1960.
dates, yes.
Around 1960, 61.
1960.
I think so.
That's right.
That's when he came to America.
That's what it is. Probably came to Paris.
Yes. So you knew him.
Yes. I met him at least 2-3 times.
Ah,
And apart from that, she was working at UNESCO. You know that, no? She was
UNESCO?
working at
Yes,
UNESCO.
yes.
That's where she had her career in France. Different posts like selecting teachers that would go to underdeveloped countries and needed teachers, so they come with their application.
Oh,
And then you have to select which one would be the best. Interestingly enough, not necessarily with their qualifications, but also their capacity of stamina to withstand, working in a foreign country that might be a tropical climate. So you have to select the people according to
where
that.
was that work?
That was in Paris at
In
the
Paris,
UNESCO.
UNESCO in Paris?
Yes, yes.
Yes, the center is in Paris. Central office.
And I'm sorry, you were mentioning something about Savitri that you are reading, or you are...
Yes, we are doing twice a week with Olive Pandey. Explorations in Savitri.
All right. And where does that happen?
It happens just around the corner
Wonderful.
at H.P. Rama's house.
Okay.
He's built a new house there. Do you know Raichura's house with the big circle?
Okay. Oh, yes, yes. I
Yes,
know.
yes. It's right near there.
Okay.
Yes. So you're most welcome to come.
Thank you. That would be nice.
We do it tomorrow at 5:10,
All right.
but that's a lot of stairs to walk up. So
Right.
we may have the basement working within a month or so.
Okay, good.
Right now it's 3 flights.
Okay. But it's not in the Circle House.
No, it's number 22,
22, nice.
Rue du Bassin,
De
Richmond.
Richmond.
Yeah.
Maybe we can drop by.
Wonderful.
Usually we spend time with her in the evening. If we free
Thank you
ourselves.
so much,
You're welcome.
Janine. To hear her also.
Yes,
And Judson.
And you must have many experiences that you haven't shared with us.
I can share anything you want. I'll
Well, that
be
would be
glad to.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
yes. Well, see you.